Hey guys, I am just setting myself up on Instagram as well to be really super fancy tonight. And for everyone who is going to arrive live, welcome. I announced this Monday because I thought, you know what, I just want to do some Facebook Lives. Let's talk literally about all the steps that I take when I want to move myself out of a funk. And I wrote like 4 pages of notes about things that I want to say tonight. And you and I both know it's not going to happen like that. It's going to probably be way more of a conversation. So welcome. Say hey if you arrive. And I'm just going to fix this on Insta because I'm having a lot of fun over there. I'm not too sure if you're an Instagram person, if you're here watching me on Facebook Live, but let's just do that. Let's hope the Wi-Fi can handle it all. Hey, Nieta, how are you? Hey, Carly, thank you for joining. Okay, this looks a bit awkward on Instagram, but let's just see how we go. Hey, Melinda, I'll just give people a chance to come on because I did let everyone know it was going to be happening, but very last minute. So, Lisa, to just be like, hey, let's do this. So, hey, Instagram, I can see you, and hey, Facebook, I can see you, and I hope you can see me and hear me. Just let me know that you're here. I haven't done one of these for a while. I think I love Instagram too, Melinda. I think the last time I did this was at the Stories That Keep You Stuck series. Was that it? I can't really remember. Hey, Tracy, I'm just live on Facebook and Insta. It's a bit awkward, I probably didn't set that one up properly, but anyway. So I did that, and I still have people referencing that Stories That Keep You Stuck series. And I think the reason why is because it's this area that we're not talking about, we're not thinking about all the time. And so in this series, I want to kind of do the same thing. I want to, thank you, The Bug. I do get comments about this screen, so hence that's why I'm wearing it. I'm totally transparent about that. I want us to have a bit of a different conversation because I think a lot of the time when we get stuck in funks, and you guys, like, I have not been normal Lisa lately. Hey, Karen. Hey, Julie. And I sort of get to the point where I'm like, okay, enough's enough. It's time for things to kind of to change. And I just thought I might as well, while I'm literally going through it, share with you, because I let everyone know that I got a mental health care plan because that's what I do. But I genuinely couldn't believe the response to it. And I get confronted by the fact that everyone's living these lives and their own kind of personal stuff. And we need new tools, or we need new ways to talk about things to be able to move ourselves through the stuff. And, like, I didn't set up this page to be some fake person. It's always about keeping it real. And sometimes, I've had to really sink into being cool with sharing that sometimes things aren't okay. Things sometimes genuinely aren't okay. And I feel sad sometimes, and shit hits the fan and flies everywhere and spatters everywhere, and you're like, how am I going to clean up this mess? And yet again, always, I come back to small steps. I come back to, like, what can I do right now? But in this series of Facebook Lives, this series of videos, yeah, that's real life. Exactly. Sweet dreams, baby. It is real life. And I think it's easy. It's so much easier. Like, how much easier is it to share the good stuff? It's all we really want to do. I don't particularly like not feeling okay. I much prefer to be feeling good. And, when I mentioned before on that other Facebook Live that I'm just not here for suffering. I'm not a person who wants to wallow. However, that my own personal ability to be the glass half full kind of person, like someone who will genuinely always find something good in a situation, hasn't necessarily helped me to create change. Because I haven't been working from a place of really acknowledging and really seeing what's going on. And as I look around and I talk to people and I see so many of us dealing with stuff, and I read all the emails and all the messages that came to me after I shared that I got the mental health care plan, I just realized that we're all looking for these solutions outside of ourselves, or we think it's all kind of happening to us. And we're also not really able to talk about as a collective, like you might have some close people that you can talk to about what this all really feels like, and how scary it can feel when the wheels start to fall off, when we've created these lives for ourselves that require constant motion. You know, it's not like we can kind of stop, and it's not like we can just go, like, I have one of my best friends, she's, you know, the best. She said to me once, she wished like if she had a superpower, it would be that she could stop time, that she could literally just like pause everything and just be herself, just like for 2 months. And then she would feel like she could get on top of things again. Because and I get that now. I get that, like, can we just like put the brakes on? Can all my children be okay? Can my husband be okay? Can everyone just be okay? Can everything just stop for a second while I just get my shit together? But we haven't created lives like that. Like, it's not ever going to happen. And so what happens when we decide, hang on, I need to take a drink and look at all your comments. Thank you for your comment. So Jackie has said, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have a meltdown. Just put a timer on it and try and move on. Right. But this moving on, this is what I feel is kind of needing to be explored. And it's why we're starting with this particular topic today. Tracy from Mums with Hustle is saying, when I was honest and told my former employer that I had a mental health plan and that I needed time to work on myself, I was told I was selfish. Wow, that took her to an all-time low. And that's what I say to that employer. Like, honestly, what the hell, what is going on in the world? And, you know, maybe Tracy, this is the thing. There is gifts in these moments, and maybe that was the gift that you needed in order to be able to leave work and start your own business. And this is Lisa's natural thing. Like, I will find the lesson in the pain, or in those sorts of down moments. But in order to do that, you still need to get to a point, and we're going to be talking a lot about mindset stuff next week. I think it's really, really hard and very counterintuitive for us to acknowledge that things are really bad. Like, don't you reckon? I'm not too sure if this is just me, but to go, okay, what have I accepted as my normal? Like, just in the terms of how I am doing life, what have I accepted in terms of, like, maybe the amount of times I'm crying per day, or what do I, you know, in terms of my health and my adrenals, why do I feel not energetic? Why am I constantly feeling like I'm running on empty? Why am I snapping at the kids? And we can be like, well, it's because blah, 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 blah. But are we really acknowledging exactly where we're at and exactly what we need? I know for sure that I ignored lots of signs for a long time, a really long time, that things needed to change. Because I had this like dialogue in my head that this was life, like this was normal. Like, how do we know that things can be different, right? And it wasn't until I kind of took a step back and thought, okay, wow, like, I'm just not too sure that it could get worse than this. But it was only then that I really thought, okay, well, this is where things are at for me, and I need help here. Until you get to the point where you can start to have a conversation with yourself that isn't about self-deprecation. Oh, you're hopeless. you're hopeless, you can't do this, you should be keeping up, everyone else can. What's wrong with you? Why is she always happy and you're the one who's sad? Why are we constantly getting to the end of the day and you haven't eaten the freaking salad for lunch that you knew would make you feel good, and in fact you've got some Vegemite on toast? You're a loser, you're terrible, nothing's ever going to change. And we just start on with this barrage of comments and negativity, and we think that there's something wrong with us that we need to fix, instead of just self-compassion and bucket loads of it and going, okay, actually things really aren't okay. And I need to be able to say things really aren't okay. And from there, we can start the process of change. But I don't know about anyone else. I had a really hard time doing that. I'm just going to have a quick look at this. Stop the word I want to get off. Exactly, Belinda. Lauren, what if you don't know who you are? Well, here's who I think I am, Lauren. And I don't know if this will help you, but I don't necessarily try to understand who I am anymore, because I feel like I'm this constantly evolving, well, okay, if you want to get woo, I think that I'm an energetic being. I think this is my human form in this lifetime, and it's my job to evolve myself. It's my job to find lessons in life. It's my turn to give and serve and be light in the world for the people around me and for myself. I don't try to work out, my purpose anymore. I just try to work my shit out so that I can evolve, which evolves every single person around me. And it takes the pressure off. I literally focus on how to feel good. And if you listen to my podcast episode about my word for this year, which was high vibe, I literally am just trying to work out what makes Lisa feel good in the world. And so it's not about who I am. It's just about what feels good right now. And that's kind of it. That's my compass point. But in these past few months, I haven't even been able to reach that. I haven't even been able to kind of access the ability. I've just been feeling sad, and I've been feeling pain, and I've been feeling confused, and I've been feeling like I had absolutely no, I felt like there wasn't even a wheel to hold on to. That's what it's kind of felt like. And so in those moments, I just decided flat out to be as compassionate to myself as I could be. And I decided to acknowledge that this was a time that I was here, that this was a time that I was going to probably need to lean into help more than I ever had before. And that this was all happening, even although it felt so terrible and it's, still feeling really hard, that it's all happening for me. But I needed to actually feel it in order to be able to move forward. And that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. So I don't know if anybody else, I'm exasperated lately. Yes. And I can see Sarah's just tagged someone. If there's anyone who who might need to hear this, feel free to tag them and share with them what's going on. But literally, look at this. I had all of these pages of notes, and now I've just talked to you the whole time. Here's the other thing that I wanted to say now that I can see all of this. What I feel like we're not necessarily allowed to do in our heads, we think we're not allowed to do this thing, is that we're not actually allowed to acknowledge our feelings particularly well. I know for me, since I became a parent, the conversation in my head is that it's about everybody else. As long as they're happy, I'm happy. That doesn't work. That is old school thinking. And one of the big lessons that I have learned over the last little while is that, as uncomfortable as it is, if I'm not actually really acknowledging how I'm feeling and my reality, even although it's actually quite hard to see, it's really hard to see sometimes because we're just so in it. Unless I'm doing that, there can be no happy mum for everybody else. Everybody else starts to unravel around us. And so it's like the only job is to take care of ourselves as a priority. And then other things start to fall into place. Thank you, Jackie. Acknowledge the confusion. It's a step in the right direction. It is the first step. If we do not do this, if we don't just stop sometimes and acknowledge that where we are is total bullshit, then we're not going to ever be able to start that change. So when I talk about small steps, I'm always talking, and if anyone has ever been in the membership, it's always like, you start exactly where you're at. We don't have anyone feeling far behind, not where they're meant to be, beating themselves up because they should, hey Amy, they should be somewhere different. You know, that just can't happen, because if we're constantly working from this place beyond, this place of a reality that doesn't actually exist, if we're expecting things to be different all the time, the real work can't start. The real work only starts when we acknowledge exactly where we're at and, as a bonus, feel peaceful about it. So we stop that negative chatter. We stop that storyline that we're not allowed to feel like this. It doesn't help us move forward, and it certainly doesn't help anybody around us. I don't know about you, but the more conversations that I have with people, the more I realize that it's not necessarily our joy that joins us all together. It's the hard stuff. And it's the stuff that's always going on behind closed doors. And it's this way we feel we have to hide it and put on a brave face. And I get that. I mean, I get that. I don't want to be here and being all, but then maybe I do. I don't know. We've all got to work that out for ourselves. We need to give ourselves the grace and compassion we give to others. 100%, Anne. And yet I have personally found that hard. So I don't know if anyone else finds that hard as well, but I have personally found it hard to acknowledge the pain. I would just prefer to distract myself. Happy mum, happy freaking everyone. So here's what I wanted to tell you. Here's what I wanted to share. Like, once you have actually acknowledged, is to do a little, like, I just did a bit of an inventory of my life, and like, where are the bits that are feeling, you know, that these, well, I don't even want to call them negative feelings, but these particular feelings or my energy or attention needs to be kind of directed towards, even although I don't want to necessarily acknowledge this. Where are those places? You know, where are those places? Look harder. One of the biggest things that I've been taught is to, you know, is to ask yourself the question of, like, what am I not seeing here? And as soon as I started to do that, I started to really be able to acknowledge where things were at, because I was putting myself in a position where I wasn't just looking for those, like, you know, those easy things. Well, if it wasn't for the blah, blah, or the kids are so here, work's really stressful, blah, it was like, what are you not seeing, Lisa? And if you had to ask yourself that, what are you not seeing? What, and you'll start to, like, what came to me was the things that stressed me out. but in a way that I saw with fresh eyes. What are you not seeing? When you ask yourself that question, I mean, I would love, if you wanted to share answers, feel free to share answers, or don't. Yeah, totally, Jackie. But I think that more than that, more than, you know, being a support to other people and losing yourself, it's more about autopilot. It's more about this, like, life that we've just accepted is life, and we just kind of jump on autopilot because it's easy for us to manage ourselves, and then off we freaking go, and then we never stop to acknowledge that it might be like the wrong gear. It might really be the wrong gear. So what is the point that you will get to that you'll realize, hang on, I just need to take it off cruise control and switch gears? And I got to that point, and the first thing that I had to do was just acknowledge I was in the wrong freaking gear, and some things needed to be changed. So that is one of my steps that I would recommend you take. What am I not seeing here? And be really like radical honesty. Just be so honest with yourself. Find a book, you know, write it out, journal it out. You might be surprised what ends up coming through. Oh, was it glitchy on Insta? Oh, that's a shame. Affirmations, daily gratitude list. Yeah. You know, and this is the thing, in the membership, we talk a lot about gratitude. We talk a lot about how to shift you. And it took me a year until I was ready to go there and open up and talk about it. Right. You had your osteo tell you for a year that you needed to go and talk to someone. I mean, we resisted. I have resisted for so long, 100%. And, you know, and it's not only like, there's so many different modalities. There's so many different ways to heal, just like there's so many different ways to heal a physical body. You know, there's the medical model, there's alternative stuff, there's food, there's all sorts of things, and same with our brains, same with when we need to shift our mental state. And I'm just open to all the things. I'm endlessly fascinated by the ways in which, like, the different modalities, and members are getting an awesome energy clearing this month as part of the membership, which is fabulous, and they're gonna love it, because I'm just like, number one, this stuff works, and number two, why not? What are we doing accepting that things have to feel really hard? Things sometimes do, that's fine, but then we get to a point where we're like, and you know, and we're ready to move, but we can't until we've done this step. Ask yourself what you're not seeing. Get radically honest with yourself about your current situation, and then watch the dominoes fall around you. I'm not saying focus on your pain. I'm not saying create big stories or anything like that, but just like get real. Surprising that I found that quite hard. So I also just wanted to say the thing that I say all the time, which is that our brains hate change. And it will try and stop you as often as it can from actually moving into that taking action mode, because sometimes, even although we're really stuck in a bad place, and even when we acknowledge it, it can still feel safer to stay there, and it can feel really hard to change. And that's why I talk about small steps. That's why this is a 4-week thing, and we're going to talk through some of the things. I didn't want to overwhelm everybody tonight. I just wanted to start the conversation, and I wanted us to be really on the same page, I guess, that we can often think we know what's going on in our lives, and then we just really don't. Let me just check my 4 pages of notes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. And the reason why that happens is because our brains are constantly overloaded. You know, we all know that mother load, that just constant, like, the reason why we're not stopping, the reason why we're not going, oh, hang on a minute, something might need to change, is because we're maxed out 100% of the time. That's why I always talk about simplifying your life. Like, how much could you actually pull back what you're doing in order to be able to give yourself just at least the headspace to start to think about this stuff? You know, we don't ever even just give ourselves those moments. I have a neighbor who has, I think he's 7 now, 7-year-old son and 4-year-old twins, who's never had a night away. What? That made me almost, and I know that that's probably not surprising, it's probably stacks of people, but just like a night away from our kids, like, it is just constant. We need to recognize, like, and be able to ask for what it is that we need in order to be able to have these moments of clarity, in order to be able to start taking action towards things that make us feel better. I'm going to stop talking because I've talked a lot. I'm going to check your, yeah, Karen, it's going to be awesome. I just had one of these points a month ago, Valeska says, and luckily I already had an appointment with my psych where all the tears came. I did exactly that before my appointment, just got a whole big list of what was going on for me, and it made so much come out. Yes, we actually have to put our attention on it, or else it will never get sorted. One result was dropping a unit at uni this semester and a hard, honest talk with hubby, and that's where we come up with stuff. When we're like, oh, so if what I want and if what's going on for me is really hard right now, and I'm gonna have to request that other people change around me. Oh God, it's okay. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I can keep going. It's not that bad. Blah, 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 until you get hit by a Mack truck. Or for those who remember, I got shingles at the end of 2017. Thanks to your last live, I went and talked to my doctor, and just him listening shifted my mindset, so thanks for your honesty. My pleasure, Jackie. Whoa, that's huge and has made my day. Right, I wanted to keep this first episode to half an hour, and done. Next week, I am going to be coming in, and same time, I'm going to be talking quite specifically about the mindset stuff. So when I get myself to the point where I'm like, okay, I've been in it now, I'm feeling all the feels, I've felt it all, now it's time for me to really start to like shift gears. This is the way that I start to do it in my mind. And I've been trying to take note of the things so I can share it with you, because I think quite a lot of it now is almost second nature to me. I've been in this work for quite a while, and I can sort of move myself. So I'm going to be coming in. It's really quite freaky to see some angry emojis coming up on Facebook, hoping they're mistakes. But anyway, so we're going to be talking mindset stuff. So we're going to be getting a little bit more practical, but I just wanted to come in, share a bit more about where I'm at, how I've really had to acknowledge it. And I think that it's a conversation that needs to be had, because I think so many of us, even if we're kind of aware that something's off, we haven't really gone there. We haven't really tried to look for the things that we can't necessarily see, or those just easy answers that come to us about what's actually happening. So I hope that was useful. Do that. That's your little small steps homework for tonight. If you were to write on the top of the page, what am I not seeing here? What would you write? What would come out? Do it. Try it. Come back, report, or message me, or whatever. I'd love to know. And I also want to say, make sure that you have people around you who you can share things with. We're so lucky in the Small Steps membership to have such an amazingly supportive community, but I know not everybody has that. So make sure you reach out to people. Never be alone with this stuff. Never take what I'm saying as a replacement for actual therapy or getting help when you need to shift gears. But we're going to be talking mindset. We're going to be talking about priorities and simplifying your life. And we're also going to be then talking about, literally, you guys, I need to start like baking again and cooking it. For those who know me and for those who've been around Small Steps, I'm out of flour. Like, I have no flour. I don't even know who I am right now. And so I'll tell you exactly how I just start to get back into a rhythm with food and all sorts of things in my life. So it's going to be really fun next few weeks. Tonight was the first, every Wednesday night for the next 3 weeks. So another 3 weeks. And we'll be diving into all of this stuff. I hope it's useful. If there is someone who you know who needs this information, then be sure to tag them. I'll pop the link into this post in case you want us to notify you. We can just send you a Facebook message that I've gone live, and it will remind you that we're on. I don't know what TV you're missing out on, but thank you for being here. I really, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, Olga. Thank you, Lizzie. I hope it's useful. Once again, just No problem, the bug 79. There's so much more to come and a lot more practical stuff, but I'm glad we had this conversation. I promised I'd keep it to half an hour, and we're half an hour perfectly. Love you, Bonnie. Hey, Katrina. See you guys. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place.